So I'm also very honored to introduce our next guest. He's a longtime leader in his tribe. He's currently the president of affiliated tribes of the Northwest Indians. He's also the chairman of the Suquamish Tribe. He's also serves on the University of Washington Board of Regents, and he's a UW alumni, and he's been a long-time opponent of mine on the basketball court. I think I win most of the time, I'm not sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Leonard Forsman, Suquamish Nation.
Thanks, Mike. It's really great to have you here, and Warren here, and the mayor here, and the friends here, and our city council member as well. And I'm Leonard Forsman. My ancestral name is Gwowi, which means raven in Celtic language. And I'm just here to talk a little bit about pre-contact and beyond. I'm going to try to cover 4,000 years in a couple minutes here, so bear with me. But as you all, many of you know, there's an archaeological site here, the West Point archaeological site, and I was fortunate enough to work on this site 30 years ago. So I have these 30-mile markers. I was born in '62, the same year as Space Needle and the World's Fair, and 30 years later, I was at the West Point, a very important archaeological site. And I'm age 60 today, and I guess the Mariners are in the playoffs. So, and go Dogs, right? Yeah. So anyway, the site, when we were here, we knew this was an important seasonal home. A lot of times you see seasonal campsites, and that means temporary, but they came year after year after year, multiple times a year, and often had permanent structures. And they would bring their planks from their winter homes to their seasonal homes and stay for weeks at a time, catching salmon, digging clams, picking berries, hunting animals, getting medicines and the things that they needed from the forest as well. So this whole area was centered on the beach. You'd see the fires coming up on the beach. You see the canoes would come in from all over, different villages, to gather here and trade and socialize and meet, future relationships, were established there. Marriages were formed and bonded, and stories were told. We didn't have a written language, so everything was in the oral history. And the elders would hold on to that information. They'd sit around the fires and do that every year, and they'd come back every year with more stories that they would tell. And the people would come in those canoes, and we still are traveling in those canoes to the canoe journey, or we get in the canoe, and I've pulled over here from Suquamish. It's a long pull. You get out in the center out there, you really know what a shipping lane feels like. But I think it's important that when I came here, Laura Phillips are here from the Burke Museum. I met Laura. She was a lab manager at the Burke. She was at Larson Archaeology then, later came at the Burke, and has been affiliated with West Point forever, which has been an amazing process to be able to share that information in our schools, et cetera, et cetera. I just, for me personally, it was a super important time in my life. We had a ceremony there when the archaeological site was pretty much finished over at Daybreak Star, and there were some elders. Warren's father was there. Hank Gobin was there from Tulalip. Herman Williams from Tulalip. We had Dobie Tom from Lummi. We had Harold Belmont from Suquamish, and we had a number of spiritual people that helped us bless the people who worked on the site, and also honor the people who lived and were part of that site over the generations and the generations. So as you go through this park, and I'd just like to thank everybody who's fought for this park, because you have to fight for stuff that's meaningful. And I read your history, and it's very important, because that's not always easy to show up at those public meetings and make your statements and put yourself out there and your family out there, maybe some criticism or whatever, but in your heart what the best thing for the future is. And that's the way we think. We think 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. And when the people here, a lot of you are in this room, you weren't thinking about tomorrow. How are you going to feel tomorrow? You're thinking about what could happen for the future. So we have this for the future. We've enjoyed it for 50 years. Why don't we enjoy it for another 4,000? All right. I'm finished.
Thank you, Leonard.